Welcome, viewers, to your award-winning Let's Talk America radio. You are watching another edition of Real Talk. I am Shana Thornton, your on-air host and executive producer, and we have yet another video episode for you to be inspired, motivated, and educated. And that's what we strive for here on LTA Radio, where tonight I have the honor of having someone on that's pretty amazing. I happen to know her personally, and she has such an inspiring story and a platform for you to know more about. It is the new year, and many of us have those resolutions, right? And finances, we want to get our money in order. Well, Renee Whaley, she's a financial coach. She's with us tonight to talk about how exactly do you do it on a real life budget. Many people talk high pie in the sky. Well, she's going to break it down for average Americans. She believes you can get it done because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, she's done it herself. Up close and personal. Renee, thank you for being on Real Talk of Let's Talk America Radio.
Thank you, Shana, for having me.
Super excited. This is a topic that I think we need more coverage on, and I'm so glad you're the person to provide the information tonight. We have a tradition here on Real Talk, Let's Talk America Radio, Renee, where we ask our exclusive guests to really explain what got them here, right? Because you're a wonderful best-selling author right now, you're a financial coach, and I'm sure you were born amazing, but not quite born a financial coach. So what got us here?
I think I always hone in on my upbringing, right? So brought up in a family where we struggled a lot, as many Americans have done in their life. And my dad was sort of like the spender, I think, in the family. My mom was more, I guess, more thrifty, we would call it. And but the main thing I remember was the struggle. And so I always innately decided this was not something that I wanted to do when I got older. So it's always been a factor for me to just make sure that I spend my money the right way and that I could live a life free of debt. So that's kind of how I got here, just trying to kind of get away from the upbringing I had as it relates to the financial side.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, because so many great stories that inspire are ones that really have that touch where they're saying, okay, I saw how it was done, and maybe I want to just make a few edits and perfect it. And I love that because that's empowering on so many levels. I know you wrote a book that's pretty personal for you. Will you share about this book? I know it's a best-selling. I know it's a hit. I know several people that have read it. They've said that they have really, truly been motivated by your story. Tell us about this book. And I know it has some personal elements to it. Also tell me, Renee, why did you get so transparent and personal about this book? Because, you know, sometimes as individuals in our culture, we'll say, well, everything was great. I didn't need any help. But you keep it 100% real. Explain.
Yes. So the book is a journey to financial fortitude. And there's a subtopic too, which is how I paid off $75K, went to college debt-free and paid off my mortgage. In the book, I thought it was very important to talk about my personal journey, because I think oftentimes, as you stated at the top of this interview, a lot of times it's pie in the sky, and we need to kind of bring it down to the level where the average American understands and they can relate, right, to what they're going through, what their situation is. So the book for me was inspired by just that. And so I thought it was very important to tell my journey because a lot of individuals feel like someone is out there telling them, do this with your money, do that, and do this. And they've never experienced what they're going through. I probably have experienced what they've gone through. So my book, like you stated, is very transparent. I get down to, a lot of people that know me know that I don't really go deep in my personal life, but the book really takes you there. And I felt like it was important to do that just to make it relatable, just to have others understand that, guess what? You can look like me and still do the things that I've done. I didn't win the lottery. I didn't have a big inheritance. I still paid off my mortgage, and I still live debt free today. So, and then I kind of go into how you can do exactly what I did too, on a financial level in the book.
Wow. Renee, you said so many things, so many key buzz phrases that I want to highlight. One, you talk about saying, well, I didn't win the lottery. I didn't have an inheritance. Things that we often know does exist when we hear celebrity stories, right? And I'm not knocking it and not saying there's not an inspiring element to a lot of the very high profile stories that we know of. But a lot of those situations don't necessarily happen for the average American. And here you are saying, you know what, I didn't have any of that, but I still was able to get it done. I want to talk real talk right now. How do you do that? I mean, you talk about, you just said you still live debt free. Wow. I mean, that is pretty amazing. I'm sure there are millions of people out there that saying, well, the holidays just left, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and no, I am not debt free. They're saying I had to spend the money on this. I had to get the PS5, whatever's the latest gaming system. How are you able to say you are living debt free? Because I know you are a mom and you're a wife as well. So it's not like you don't have a holiday shopping list. How do you get that done?
So I think two words to describe what I've done and how I continue to do it. Discipline is one word and budget is the other. So discipline, number one, is you have to be able to discipline yourself enough to wait. Back in the day, our parents and our forefathers, they didn't have credit cards, right? So they couldn't get that thing they wanted right away. They waited. So somehow I was born with that spirit of waiting, right? I have that level of patience when it comes to finances. I can't say that I'm patient in every other aspect of my life, but for finances, yes, I'm going to wait. I just have a real distaste for debt. I just loathe it. I don't want any dealings with it, any parts of it. So that is how I really did it. And then the budgeting part, I mean, I can remember my husband and I, we've been married almost 21 years. So I can remember putting a spreadsheet together when we were planning our wedding, and each step of the way saying, okay, this is how much cake is, this is the dress, and I still have that spreadsheet, the paper copy of it. But I remembered saying, I'm not going to get married and have a big wedding and then have this debt to pay after it's over. So I've always been a budgeter, a person that budgets. When Christmas comes around, I make a list of everybody that I know that I want to get a gift for, and I assign a dollar amount to that person. Wow. And I do my shopping for Christmas. Even my boys, there's a dollar amount assigned to them too. And this is how much we'll give you for Christmas or get for gifts towards your Christmas gifts. So budgeting is one part of it. The other part is discipline.
I love it. You are watching Real Talk, produced by Let's Talk America Radio. I am Shana Thornton, on-air host and executive producer. If you're just joining us, just dropping in or watching this on demand, I'm speaking with the one and only financial coach, Renee Whaley. She is author of a best-selling book. She's breaking down how she got out of college debt-free, how she continues to live debt-free, and she's providing some very important nuggets for all of us to get us well on our financial journey. You talked about a human element that's not always easy to achieve. Some people can go to Excel or go to other software apps that are out there, Renee, and say, I'm going to budget, I'm going to do this. But you brought up the D word of discipline. And I want to talk about that because it's not always easy to get, right? Obviously, you're a person that loathes debt. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't loathe debt. You're right. We don't. We're like, okay, we'll worry about that later. But you do. But talk to us about having the discipline. And really the willpower, because that's what discipline is, right? To a large degree, to say, you know what, why can't I just go ahead and splurge on that? I didn't plan for that $1,000 gift to myself, but I can go ahead and do it. And so many people do that knowing that rent or mortgage or important other bills have not been paid. Help us. I mean, what pearls do you remember? Because I'm sure you get tempted to some degree like others, but what do you keep in mind? Do you keep the long game front? What works?
So I think for me, it is forward thinking, right? I just don't want to have to pay anybody back. I want to just own this. I want it to be mine outright. I can remember when I got my first apartment, and I remember praying to have a job where I could pay my rent in one paycheck, right? I would get paid biweekly. And so like, if my rent was $700, I every 2 weeks, my check had to be at least $700, or it had to be $800, more than that $700 in order for me to pay the rent. So what I would do so that I wouldn't feel the strain come time for rent time is I would put away half of my rent every 2 weeks. So whenever I paid the rent, then it felt the same, right? As if it was the other pay period. So it didn't hit me so hard. So I tried things like that to help me not feel the strain and the drain of, needing money or, being in debt. So I did things like that. Another thing, like you stated, why can't I owe this to myself? Why can't I have this $1,000 toy or gift or whatever that I want? And it's important to know that if you budget, you can have it. It doesn't mean you can't have it. It just means you can't have it as quickly as you want it. So if you want something that's $1,000,
powerful.
Say, I'll pay $250. I'll put $250 away for 4 pay periods, or I'll put $500 away for 2 pay periods, and then I'll have it. So
that's smart. You're so right, because you have to remember what we really want in life. That reminds me of the fact that you're a mother and I'm a mother, and you have 2 boys as well. How much of your platform, your foundation, your book, your day-to-day living is truly about setting an example for your 2 boys, Renee? How critical is that? And what are you and your husband, your life partner, expecting to establish in your boys?
Yes. So I think most of this, probably 75% of this, is about the boys and setting that example for them so that they can move forward in life and not do this. I've had the conversations with them since they were 3 and 4 years old about debt. And my oldest, Judah, experienced us going through the process of paying off debt. When he was born, he's 13 now, we were not debt free. We still had student loan payments. We still had mortgages. So Jonah, the younger one, he's 9, he got to experience it as well. But he kind of came in on the gravy part, right? When we were trying to get the mortgage paid down, but the student loans were already out of the way. So through that process, we would talk to them about it. Like, you don't want to do this. You want to make sure that you save for school, or you win scholarships, or whatever it is, and I explained to them, mommy has a 529 put away for you to contribute to your education. So I'm explaining all of these things to them along the way so that they understand that this living in debt is not the thing to do, despite what you might see with others. And my oldest, Judah, is 13 now. So he's getting older, getting more into the shoes. And mommy, the shoes are only $100. Well, I don't understand, why you can't purchase them. So now I'm teaching him, save for the shoes on your own instead of waiting to Christmas and asking me to get them. You're on mute.
Thank you. Very smart. That is so key. How much of what you're setting for your children, Renee, requires us to be vulnerable to some degree because we're being honest, right? You talked about your father being more of the spender and your mother being more thrifty when you were growing up, right? You could see that, and maybe perhaps your mother and father shared that with you and your siblings. But, so many times when we talk about parenting, talk about high pie in the sky, we paint pictures of what's visionary, and these are all the things we're doing right. But I recently interviewed a family therapist here on the program that said we also have to be honest with our children about the mistakes we have made or that we continue to make, so it makes them stronger. Do you buy into that, talking about financial empowerment?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And just as I stated, talking through our debt situation with them as we were going through the process of paying it, explaining to them why, I had the debt, because I went to college debt free. But the student loan debt kind of came along after I got married, of course. So I inherited debt when that happened. So I explained to them the why, and I explained to them, how to push through it, how to get through it. But my main goal is to share with them that this doesn't have to be you.
Yeah.
So, mommy and daddy, maybe we didn't make the absolute right decisions along the way, but we've learned, and this is how it should be done. Yeah. So I think it's very important to be vulnerable with your kids and show them, mommy wasn't born debt-free.
So many Americans. What a great conversation. You're watching Real Talk, produced by Let's Talk America Radio. I'm Shana Thornton, on-air host and executive producer. We're wrapping up an amazing, empowering conversation with the one and only financial coach, renowned financial coach, Renee Whaley, author of a new best-selling book, and also a financial advocate out there for the average American. She believes it can be achieved even if you don't make that much money. Renee, so many times when we have dietitians and nutritionists and MDs and DOs on, they often will say you start small when you want to change your health. You do something every day you didn't do before. Instead of drinking 3 sodas, you cut it down to 1 soda a day. So I'm going to pose the same type of question to you. You've achieved so much in your own personal and professional life when it comes to financial freedom. If there was one thing, even though small as it may be, what would you tell our visitors, our viewers right now? What could the one thing they could do that could perhaps get them on the journey bit by bit to financial empowerment or financial freedom, if you will?
I think I would say the first thing you would do, and it can sound big, but I think it is small, is to look through all of your finances and just trim the fat. Trim the fat. One of the things I do with clients when we're looking at where they are, they never realize how much they spend at Starbucks, or they never realize how much they're spending going out to lunch. They never realize how much they're spending on subscriptions. You have Apple subscription. You have so many different subscriptions. So I would just say, take a holistic look at your financial situation. Okay. Just think through the things that you're spending money on, and that's a first way to quickly trim some of the debt.
Wow, that's smart. That is so smart to look at. And you're right, subscriptions, they're different things that you end up doing every day that's really costing you a lot. So key. Any quick tips on credit card debt for those out there that has gotten it greatly increased over the holiday spending period?
Pay it off. So with credit card debt, that's a little bit tricky for me. I just don't advocate credit cards at all. I know some people, so I meet people where they are. So some people can't seem to detach from them. It was very hard for me to even detach from mine because I got it when I was in college over 20 years ago. And so I was emotionally attached to that card. But if you have 10 cards, get it down to 1. I mean, just you can trim it down, get it down to 1 card. If that means transferring balances over or whatever, 0% transfer them over. And then just start paying those bad boys off. When you start trimming your debt and, you're looking at your budget and seeing your what's coming in, what's going out, if you start trimming that fat, all of that fat that you trim, throw it towards your debt. If you're trimming $75 a month and your credit card bill, you were paying $100 a month. Now you're paying $175 a month. And as you continue to pay that down, then you start looking at your next bill that's staring you in the face. And now you're paying $175 plus whatever you were already paying for that bill. And we call it the debt snowball, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you go down, because that's really what empowered us to really get out of that, is that debt snowball, just snowballing everything. And we snowballed all the way to the mortgage.
Wow, and that's true. And then you think of the interest that's piled up monthly. That's where the real fees come in at. So I love it. I mean, you're talking about having discipline. You're talking about making good decisions to hold us into the future. And again, what I think is the most important, setting examples for our children, the future, so they don't repeat some of the mistakes we made, right? Because it's not about perfection, but it's about improving with each generation. Renee Whaley, you are such the epitome and a great example of success when it comes to financial fortitude, if you will. And congratulations to you on all of your success. Keep it going. So proud of you. Where can our viewers find out more information about your book, your platform, and more about you, Renee?
Sure. For the information about my book, you can go to my website, which is financialfortitudellc.com. Again, financialfortitudellc.com. On there, you can see more about my book, how to go through the process of getting that, which is really through Amazon. The link will take you there. You can also see how I help students as well with trying to attend college debt-free like I did. There's so many scholarships out there, and over 3.6 billion is left on the table every year in scholarship money that the kids are not going out there and taking advantage of. So I assist with that as well. And you can, they can find me on the website to book me for a 15-minute no charge consult. Also, you can find me out on social media. I'm on Instagram, Fortitude LLC. I'm on Facebook, Fortitude, or you'll see Financial Fortitude. You can see my logo here in the background. As long as you see my logo, you're probably on the right page. So those ways to reach me on the website is my phone number as well. So I answer my calls and my text messages and all that good stuff. But I do ask you to book me through my website. That's easier to grab my time and make sure that we'll have an opportunity to speak with whatever it is you want to talk through.
I love it. Thank you so much, Renee, for sharing all of that information with us. And give it to us one more time, just in case someone missed it.
Website, financialfortitudellc.com. Facebook, Financial Fortitude or Fortitude. Okay. And Instagram is Fortitude LLC. Those are the ways that you can find it.
I love it. She's easily accessible. Such a great conversationalist. Thank you so much for conversing with us tonight, providing information that is key. Thank you so much. Financial coach Renee Whaley. I'm sure we're going to have you back on later in the year to do a check-in with us, right? You started us off in the new year, getting those resolutions on board. We got to do a check-in in a few months, Renee, to make sure we're staying on schedule and we're not getting the snowball effect. And different days come up in the year. I want to thank everyone for watching us tonight here on Let's Talk America Radio. Remember, we offer real talk for real people, okay? For additional information on the show, please certainly reach out you can reach our website at ltaradio.com. That's ltaradio.com, okay? For more information on us on social media, you are encouraged to simply use the hashtag LTA Radio. The hashtag LTA Radio will work, and you can connect with us. We're out there on Fabulous Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. We're out there, okay? Remember, we bring you the best and the brightest, okay? Such as Renee Whaley and many more. We've got a big year in store for you for Let's Talk America Radio. 2022 is going to be the year that you continue to be educated, inspired, and informed by LTA Radio. Thanks for sticking with us, everyone. Please continue to be safe. As many of you know, the Omicron variant of COVID-19 continues to plague many communities throughout our world. So we hope and pray that you are as safe as possible. And we'll be checking in soon again. Stay informed. Thanks, Renee.